I can't promise you that this video will be the most important video that you watch today. I wish that that was a promise that I could make, because after all, today could very well be the day that you finally find what you've been looking for on social media. Or it could just as easily be another one of those days where you scroll and you scroll and you scroll, and come nightfall, all you seem to have found is a sharpened sense of pain and a new understanding of just how deeply the existential dread can reach. Or perhaps you're watching this video shortly after a great tragedy has taken place, one involving the gruesome and untimely deaths of many, many, many innocent people. That would be terrible. Long story short, on days when bad stuff happens or big stuff happens, this video can't possibly hope to live up to the tall order of being the most important thing you watch, which says nothing about when the good stuff happens. But I am not talking about those days when stuff happens that conceals the value of my content. All I'm trying to do is make something that could potentially be of some importance to you, or if not even that, I would at least like for this video to grab you by the neck and shake you so that you leave feeling exhausted, as though you've just completed a grueling but obviously enjoyable exercise routine. Or not. Truthfully, and this is me showing you my hand, I'm trying to usher you through to the end. But what exactly am I talking about? What could possibly be so important that on good days and bad days and medium days, this video still ranks toward the top of most important things you watch in a day? Today, I'm talking about the most important and fundamental life skill human beings have. I'm talking about storytelling. And I mean storytelling in its most general sense. I'm not talking about storytelling the way your old and decrepit, but hopefully well-intentioned English teacher might have. I'm trying to untether or untangle storytelling from its maybe more artistic associations, be they with literature or screenwriting or whatever else comes to mind when you hear the word storytelling. So we're really digging in. Pure story. That's what this channel is all about in one way or another. Pure story. So how can I teach you about storytelling? What should I say? I'll tell you what I tell my undergraduates. Storytelling is everything we do. Every action creates a story. Is that lofty? Yes. Is that maybe a little absurd? Yes. But I don't have time to wipe what I step in off of my shoes. I'm running. Everything we do tells a story. In his book, The Storytelling Animal, Jonathan Gottschall writes, quote, "Human life is so bound up in stories that we are thoroughly desensitized to their weird and witchy power," end quote. And I'll pause here to say that's literally the first line of the book. I'm talking page 1, chapter 1. Anyone who's interested in like the primal connections human beings have with stories should check this book out. I read it a few years ago when I was doing my undergrad, and it was incredible, and it stuck with me this whole time, and I still talk about it like a couple times every semester. But anyways, storytelling is everything we do. Listen to me when I tell you this. Everything is fiction. Everything is narrative. All of our memories, how our personality manifests, our relationships, our achievements, memory is malleable. We're wild animals. Don't think yourself into a corner. It's all fiction. But do I mean this seriously? Kind of. I'm not trying to get too cynical or too crazy about it, but I do want to communicate the idea that the ability to tell stories that engage other people's attention can help streamline the development of stable and self-benefiting relationships. Or put more simply, becoming a better storyteller helps you take care of your personal life, your professional life, everything. Obviously, there are exceptions to this. I'm not saying there aren't people who screw their lives up despite being great storytellers. I'm saying that being able to tell a good story is a uniquely human skill, and that maybe things could be a little bit easier if you spend some time trying to become a better storyteller. Again, though, and this is important, I'm not even talking in the artistic sense, although if you want to use some creative outlet to supplement your improvement or to help improve your improvement, I say then by all means go for it. But okay, the next thing I want to touch on is this. Why should you want to be a better storyteller? Here's why. I believe that storytelling is the most important skill human beings have at our disposal. Like I said before, everything we do communicates a kind of story. And this is an idea that I think is worth paying serious attention to. The ability to tell a good story will follow you wherever you go, regardless of whether or not you're in an academic environment or a professional environment or, any old social environment. Being better at telling a story translates to an increased probability that things go your way when you have to interact with another person. And if you're anything like me, you interact with people often, or if not often, you interact with people. Now, obviously that might mean nothing to you. It might mean something, but I say, who cares? A positive interaction with another person is a positive interaction with another person. That's good karma, it's good fate, whatever words you want to say. Me personally, I would like some good karma. I could use more. And also, here's the reality. Eventually, you're going to find yourself in a situation where being a good storyteller can help you out. Maybe that looks like a job interview. Maybe it looks like a first date. Eventually, you're going to find yourself in a situation where the stakes seem high or are objectively high. And it's in moments like these that being able to fall back on good storytelling abilities is worth your time. And what that translates to is more success for you. And success in this case is kind of an empty word, but hopefully you take my point. I want for you to be successful. I want you, whoever you are watching this video, to be the best you that you can be. And some might say that's kind of silly, but guess what? I don't care. I want you to achieve your goals. I want you to actualize your full potential. I want you to be the best you that you can be. I'm telling you the same thing I tell my students. If you find this helpful, it would really mean a lot to me if you dropped a comment. But what is good storytelling? Maybe this is a question you're wondering. Again, I'll tell you something I tell my undergraduates. There are probably a million different definitions for what constitutes good storytelling. So I'm trying to give you the average definition, the baseline, the general. For me, good storytelling essentially entails the communication of an idea in such a way that captures your listener's attention. And my hope is that when I define it as such, you get a better idea of why I think it's a skill worth spending time developing. Because make no mistake, it is a skill that can be developed. Maybe you say, oh, I'm a bad storyteller. Forget it. Maybe you just need to practice more. So whatever it is that constitutes good storytelling depends upon the capturing of your listeners or your viewers' attention. That's kind of what I'm setting the standard at. And while I'll say right away that I don't think any one story can capture everyone's attention, I do think that there are storytelling techniques that we can implement and draw upon which will optimize our ability to tip the tables in our favor. Because here's the reality, we all have personal goals for ourselves, professional goals, social goals, whatever. We all want to achieve things, whatever they might be. I hope you have good intentions. Being able to tell a story that captures another person's attention is going to help us jump through the hoops that achieving our goals requires. Am I speaking extremely generally? Yes, but so what? Who cares? I like to think that I'm trying to help you because what's good for you is good for me, is good for the channel. So take my advice or don't, and if you're somewhere in between, ask me a question in the comments. Let's make each other better. We're averaging like no views per 24 hours. It gets very lonely over here. There are a couple different roads to becoming a better storyteller, in my opinion. Each of them involves a different art form's input or digestion. My thinking is there's like cognitive, there's visual, and there's sonic. I'll add as a side note that to some extent these categories overlap. Their distinction is kind of arbitrary, but they help me prove my point. So that's what I'm doing here. We can become better storytellers using cognitive exercises, namely using reading and writing. We can read novels, we can write our thoughts down. By using these two exercises as practice, if you're serious about wanting to become a better storyteller, I think you can do it. Reading and writing are mankind's oldest intellectual tools, and that means something. Harness their powers. Read books you're interested in. Write things that you're interested in. Let your interest guide you, and you will be rewarded over time. Even if you can only manage reading for 15 minutes a day and writing for 15 minutes a day. Starting small is okay. The point is you want to be making small, incremental improvements day after day. They will compound, they will add up, and you will become better. But what's most important is to let your interest guide you. Okay, next, visual. Look at stuff. That's like one of the guiding philosophies behind this channel. The paintings. We can become better storytellers just by using our eyes, by looking at paintings, for example. Any visual art, if when you approach it, the headspace you're in is, like, what can I learn from this? You can learn a lot about storytelling, and all you have to do is be in that mindset when you approach visual art, or really any art for that matter. Sonically, here's what I'll say. What forms of story that you can listen to do you most enjoy? Is it music, stand-up comedy, podcasts, whatever else there is that I don't want to take the time to mention? My point is, listen to that stuff. Whatever sorts of stories you find yourself listening to when you put headphones in, listen to them with the idea in mind that you're trying to learn something. If it's stand-up comedy, there's speech patterns, there's cadences that you can pick up on just by listening to a person's voice. If it's music, there's kind of different musical progressions that you can learn from, the structures of songs that you can learn from to become a better storyteller. Aristotle said that the best thing a person can do is to harness the power of metaphor and analogies. He didn't say it like that, he said it differently. I'm paraphrasing. But the point is, use art as a metaphor for becoming a better storyteller. Like, use musical structures and narrative structures and figure out ways to apply them to your daily life and to become a better storyteller by drawing on them. Make no mistake, there is a logic to most everything we can possibly be interested in that will teach us something. Music can teach us how to be better verbal storytellers. Make no mistake. We're talking about analogies, we're talking about metaphors. Harness the power. So those are the three routes that you can take, in my opinion. There are probably more, but again, I'm running. I'm trying to crank these puppies out. In summary, cognitive, visual, sonic, consume stories in the category or categories of your choice while being in the mindset of what I'm consuming can teach me something about storytelling, and that will happen. Divorce studying from something you hated doing while you were in school. Studying can be fun, although it isn't always fun. Don't expect it to always be fun or you will be disappointed. But that's why you have to be careful about the forms of story you consume. Consume what looks good enough to learn from. All right, now the last thing I want to cover before wrapping this baby up is, once again, why I think storytelling is worth your time. Storytelling is a fundamental human skill. It transcends every niche, every category, whether you study in the humanities or in STEM, or you're working in an office or on a construction site. Being able to clearly communicate a story can help you. Whether it's a story that's necessary, meaning like you're on a construction site and you gotta explain that things need to go here, whatever, I'm making up a hypothetical. Or maybe the story you're telling is not so necessary, like you're trying to tell a joke on a date. By exposing ourselves to great artistic stories, meaning stories that interest us, especially when we expose ourselves to great stories with the goal of learning to become a better storyteller, I think we can familiarize ourselves with the patterns that underlie stories. And while this process might take some time to unfold, meaning like months or years, I think familiarizing ourselves with the way different sorts of stories work can help put us in a better position to achieve our goals and actualize our full potential. Or to put it maybe more simply, by consciously deepening our understanding of how stories work, the probability that we can articulate stories in real time and to a self-benefiting end is increased. Don't expect to become a noticeably better storyteller overnight. It will take weeks or months or years, like any other skill in life. But it is something that is within your control, and that's worth remembering. If you give your time to it, if you practice it, you can become a better storyteller. But wait, before I go, I want to say my thank yous. First and foremost, I want to thank my best friends and video editors, Joe and Bach. And next, I want to thank you, my wonderful, life-affirming viewer, for giving some of your time to our channel. We really, really appreciate it, and we hope that you'll come back next time. We also hope that you'll like, comment, and subscribe. With that, I want to say thank you again, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I will see you next time.